Hi, are we still on air? Or
we are, but for some reason I just saw a little icon and the microphone switched itself off.
Oh.
They do these things, but anyway, I've got it back on, so we're all right. Keep going. Yes, this is our signature.
Well, yes, we have to be very careful. The point is, you see, radio, I firmly believe this. Radio was simplicity. It was a simple process. There was a microphone, there was a presenter, and there was an audience out there. Television today is far too complex. There are too many buttons to press, and there are too many other things and other channels that intrude. And it's not simple at all, you see. We shouldn't say this. We're probably upsetting officials somewhere who say television is wonderful. I mean, I wasn't at the birth of television.
Well, I remember listening to a tape when television first came in, and it was threatening to kill radio. And this is in North America, this is in Canada, and the tape was, let us give you examples of the way that sound can actually trigger your imagination.
Yes, absolutely.
And is just as good as pictures, and it is. Actually, and I have a lot of people say to me, I listen to Radio 4 or Radio 3 or LBC or Capital or whatever, and this actually creates pictures.
100%.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And I agree with you.
I've heard people say that about radio, that they prefer the pictures on radio. And the pictures on radio, of course, are within your own imagination.
That's right.
I mean, it's rather like, for example, a series like The Archers, for example. Everybody has an image of all the various people in The Archers. And it's a little bit of a shock when you do actually see the actors doing the recording of the program. It's a little bit of a surprise, really, because you think, oh, I didn't expect that woman to look like that, you see. You can't tell by voices, you see. I mean, if you turned off the cameras at the moment, don't do that, Keith, please.
I'll keep them on.
Keep it on. Yes. And the sound as well is probably quite valuable. I heard that, madam. Once again, that lady on the right, yes. But the thing is, that if we didn't have that picture, we could probably keep going anyway, I would have thought.
Oh, absolutely.
On and on and on.
Forever.
So that's why I brought this stopwatch.
It is in perpetuity.
Oh, my.
Is the wonderful football documentary done by Dennis Waterman of West Auckland Football Club, who won the very first World Cup.
Really?
Yes. And then, it's a wonderful story, which we will talk through one morning because it's a bit long. But they went out a second time, 4 years later, and won it again. And in Dennis Waterman's documentary, there's this wonderful scene of the coal miner captain showing his son the World Cup trophy, which they're able to keep. They won it twice. And it says in perpetuity. And the little boy says, "What's in perpetuity, Dad?" And he says, "Forever, lad, forever."
Forever. That's a very good story. Because you say West Auckland, did you say that?
Yes, and apparently that World Cup is still in the West Auckland.
Yes, because there used to be a Bishop Auckland.
Yes, I remember Bishop Auckland.
Yes, yes. And Dulwich Hamlet, that's another team. I see. Oh, these are all the early days of football, actually. Dulwich Hamlet and Bishop. Amazing how we get onto these subjects. And we started with Ollie Watkins, of course, the young Aston Villa player. Is he still Aston Villa?
Yes, he is.
He is, indeed. And we mentioned Crystal Palace just for a moment, just to upset a few people here in Brighton area. The trouble with that was, as I said, I was saying, Gareth got them all down there. There was a young man called Wharton, who was a brilliant player. There's a young man called Eze, who's equally good. In fact, there were several of them who never appeared once. And I just thought, well, it's jolly nice having a sort of 2.5 weeks in Germany and playing golf and swanning around generally. But I mean, basically, if you don't actually play in the game,
Yes,
it must
yes,
be very frustrating.
Yeah, it must be, and disappointing
Yeah.
for them. But actually, on last night's presentation, they at one stage showed the Amex Stadium because and you'll know better, and you could tell us all. Is Brighton have just purchased a very young player, but who is supposed to be very, very gifted. Now, can you fill us in on that?
No, I can't.
Oh.
I can't. All I know is that the young 16-year-old, and he's now 17-year-old, is probably the guy who's going to score against us for Spain in the final on Sunday. You see all the knowledge you get here. I can't remember his name either, actually. But players come and go. What you haven't mentioned is that the goalkeeper for Brighton and Hove Albion was actually the goalkeeper for the Netherlands team. Right. So the young man, although he played perfectly well, he did very well.
He did do well, actually.
He was, yes, he did. He was an excellent goalkeeper. And our goalkeeper was. Oh dear! Here is the football news. In the next 10 minutes, we'll be talking croquet, badminton, and pocket billiards. Yeah. No, seriously, we can't skip. I tell you what, we could just mention, and I think we should mention this, is that we have a new magazine that's arrived in the post, and I thought everybody might like to see it.
Oh, yeah.
I'd
like to see it.
Yeah. We're back to the music hall once again, and this is a magazine. It is called the Call Boy, and it's a publication of the British Music Hall Society, the BMHS. And it's the official journal, and this is the spring or summer edition with story of a major event in Eastbourne along the coast here, which was very successful. Sue Pollard was there, some wonderful people there. Did I go? No, I didn't, unfortunately. I couldn't make it, but there's more pictures for you.
Where was it?
This was in the Hippodrome in Eastbourne.
Right.
And it was all about 5 or 6 weeks ago, actually. And it was called A Day by the Sea, 2024. So there it is. Sue Pollard is one of the people there. And I think that was a splendid occasion, which I didn't actually attend, which is a shame, but never mind. And was Max Miller there? No, Max Miller wasn't there on that occasion. He was there in spirit, of course, but he wasn't actually appearing there. And talking of Max Miller, the other thing we need to mention, once again, is our garden party, which we hope everybody will come to. And the date is August the 11th. It's on a Sunday, and it's in Brighton. And I tell you what, I hope it's a jolly nice day. Because some of the weather that they've had to put up with everywhere, we don't talk about the weather, but we've had some pretty tough weather, haven't we?
Yes, we have.
Oh, dear, oh, dear, oh, dear. So it lowers the tone of everything, if you know what I mean, doesn't it?
Now, I'm very anxious to come to this garden party, John, but I do seriously have difficulty walking and standing.
Yes.
So if I get off the bus and stagger into the park, will I be able to find a seat easily? Oh,
you'll certainly find a seat. There's no doubt about that. Yes, and that's basically all that happens. Everybody simply sits around, eats cakes, drinks tea, and talks about the good old days.
Right.
Which can't be a bad thing. By the way, talking about, just to explain, there's a little bit of a background at the moment, because as with any decent pub, this is being cleared up a bit.
Yes.
Cleared up a bit. So it's good news, and you can hear us. Can you hear me, Mother? Who used to say that?
Oh, yes, who did?
Sandy Powell.
Ah, right.
All those years.
Yes.
Well,
actually, our viewers, nobody has complained about, they use this word inclusive.
yes.
And we are inclusive in as much as all the people who work here get involved one way or another. The window cleaner comes in sometimes. The other cleaners come in and so on, so do their work, and we carry on regardless.
Well, that's it. You see, that people may be puzzled by it, and they'll say, well, it's a bit noisy. But the point is, life goes on. And I always think, when you see these perishing programs, these early morning programs, where everything is 100 times over 100 perfection, and the sound is absolutely pristine. I mean, that isn't really, to me, it doesn't reflect
life. Absolutely not.
So you may be complaining and saying, well, I can't really hear everything they're saying at the moment. Well, be grateful for that. Because half of it is a load of old codswallop anyway.
Yes. And one morning, this program is going to come with John and I in a bus.
Well, that's a brilliant idea. Yes, probably
buses go past, and we note them, don't we? Particularly the training buses.
Yeah, it's a very good idea. I mean, that actually might be the opportunity when we both thought about our next career, of course. And frequently a bus, I think it's a deliberate ploy by the Brighton Bus Company. And there's one going past now.
Right.
And that one is advertising Regency Brighton. But the one that we notice, of course, is the one that's calling and seeking. There it is. There's another one going in the other direction. See? Sorry you can't see this, everyone. You think we're making it up. Bus that way, bus that way. It's a very good bus service, but the trouble is with those buses that they're running out of drivers, you see. So it may not suit you and I doubt whether it would be a good idea, but they're paying about £35,000 a year, which is actually not bad money.
Not bad at all.
Not bad, and you can sort of have the freedom of the road. But it just struck me, particularly if you're on the route, say, to the lovely Tunbridge Wells, for example, which is in that direction. That's a very pleasant journey. The biggest setback, of course, is that you have to keep stopping to let people get on. I mean, if I was driving it and I saw people at a bus stop, I'd sort of see what sort of people they were. And if I didn't like them,
they just carry on.
Driven on. So I probably wouldn't have got the job in the first place. Yeah. And anyway, I have to say, as a car driver myself, the joy of travel by car now is largely ruined by what has just gone past there. And that's commercial vehicles. They've got a job to do. But the point is now that, and the other thing too, if you're sitting on a bus, particularly on the A27, which is one of our main thoroughfares, you sit on that bus and you are passed by cars going well over 70 to 80 miles an hour. Now that's fine if you want to get somewhere, but the trouble is you have an accident or you clip another car and you've got major incidents.
Yeah.
And if you read the local newspaper or any newspaper actually, day in and day out, there are very nasty tailbacks on all of these roads.
Yes.
There can be no joy really in driving at all. I'm just very grateful that I don't have to do it for a living.
John, going back to television programs, do you remember On the Buses?
Yes, absolutely.
And who were the stars of that?
Oh, now you've got me. You've got me.
I can picture him.
Oh, so can you. Yes, so can you. Yes, that was brilliant. There was a little man and then a tall man.
Yeah, that's right, yes. Reg somebody.
Reg Varney.
Reg Varney, right.
Yes. It immediately triggered up. Oh, we're very good at that sort of thing, you know. If we took Sandy Powell, you see, immediately, can you hear me, mother? Exactly. Max Miller, we used to say, now listen, there's a funny thing, you see. It all triggers off memory and it's all sound as opposed to imagery, which is what radio is all about and what we were discussing.
Well, John, I think that they keep some of the buses in that series in museums, don't they?
Oh, yes.
So what we'll do is we'll persuade the bus company here to bring one of those out. You drive it, and I'll be the conductor.
Yes,
and we will shout to one another around the bus. And then all the people will clamour to get on it.
You know, amazing ideas that you come up with, Sir Keith, and all credit to you. In point of fact, I mean, they're lovely. The trouble is, you see, the reason why you and I sort of natter on is because we are basically ideas people.
Yes, that's right.
And I have thousands of ideas day in and day out, and most of them probably don't happen. But the ones that do normally work very well indeed.
Oh, indeed. I mean, there are more things that go on in Lewis that are your ideas. You can shake a stick at.
Oh,
Yeah.
good gracious me! Yes. Well, I just an update on the situation here. We've got a party crossing the road. You haven't invited some extra guests on the program, have you?
Not that I'm aware, but we sort of say to people, drop by.
Oh, yes.
Are they heading this way?
There's a lot of them, actually. Yes.
Yes.
I think they're
Could be
probably
they're looking in here.
Yes, they
Yes.
are going.
They're
Past.
going to the side door.
Yes. It's a running comment. Good gracious.
They're going to speed. I think they're going to continue. I don't think they're going to come in today.
No, probably not,
No.
which is probably just as well, actually. We're a bit limited for time and space, I would say, actually. And anyway, we don't want to mess up the pub because it's looking very good. And I see because the old England sign is up there, the old...
Yes, it's always decorated well for... yes, and poor old Deck, the landlord, is 2 weeks ago thought he was going to have to take it all down.
Oh, yes. No, well, now he's got to keep it up until Sunday.
He was within 15 seconds of having to take it all down. Now look at it. Oh,
what amused me, actually, when they cut to, there are these various places, unlike this splendid pub, but there are places in Brighton in particular where people en masse watch the games on a big, vast screen. And they're all obviously tanking up. And the funny thing is, of course, that if there is an England goal, all the ale goes up in the air, which is good news for Declan people, but not so good news. What amuses me, though, I was watching, there was an occasion in the second half of the game when England actually scored a goal, but it was offside.
Yes.
So,
but by that much.
Well, I know that's VAR. You see, I'm surprised we haven't got VAR on this Mirador television. To be honest with you, no, I mean that was ridiculous because obviously the ball went in the net and the beer went up in the air, and then the referee said, "No, sorry, that was offside, no goal." So then they all had to go and buy more beer, presumably. I think it's a deliberate plot by the
Brewers Association.
The Brewers,
yes, absolutely.
To get the occasional VAR decision go against.
That's right.
So they keep
empty the glasses and fill them up.
Yeah, I mean, obviously they wouldn't behave like that in this pub. But I mean, I've often thought they must be drowned in beer, these people. What a way to go, actually.
Yes. Actually, I can't ever remember myself being drowned in beer. But I do remember on many an occasion when, yes.
Well, exuberation, absolutely. I can understand that. The danger, though, with sort of English football is that, it doesn't happen very often. And if it's then not, and then the goal is ruled out, you've got a real problem. But that's not the problem of the brewing industry, of which we are very keen. Obviously, here in Lewis, in the lovely pub, the Harvey's beer, of course. You mentioned that, I would have thought.
Yes, oh yes. Well, I mean, it's the main employer of the town, isn't it? Yes, and the main business of the town.
And lovely having that brewery down there.
Oh, fantastic.
Superb, isn't it?
Fantastic. And Miles Jenner, the chief brewer, and so on, a very nice man.
Yes, I think I've seen him on Mirador.
Indeed. Yes, indeed. He appears, he's on our documentary.
Yeah.
And actually explaining why it was that in 1853 we had 63 pubs.
Yes,
it's because the only pure water was in Harvey's brewery. The rest was poisonous.
So it was you drank beer.
Absolutely, and they made beer for the children.
I think one final mention, actually, of people that have appeared on Mirador recently. Of course, I think we can safely congratulate the Member of Parliament who
indeed,
here, Mr. James McCleary.
Yes,
what a splendid bloke he is.
Yes, he is. And one of the things that was interesting is I've always admired Norman Baker for being a good constituency MP. And we said to James, what are you going to do? Are you going to spend all your time in Westminster, or are you going to be a good constituency MP? And he said, well, I've got my children down here, so I've got to spend a lot of time here. And he said, I will try to walk in Norman's footsteps. So hopefully we're going to see a lot of James.
Couldn't agree more.
And John, just we try to be serious just for about 30 seconds on this program. But I have asked if I can have a session with him because he does bemoan the fact that local media, such as ourselves, are shrinking and get very little support. And he said he thinks that's wrong. So I'm going to have a meeting with him to see whether we can boost it.
Yes. Well, a splendid idea. And he struck me in the appearance that he made here. I was watching that and I thought, yes, there's a man who can put words together, spoke intelligently, and obviously of value and local too. That's the other thing, you know, New Haven basically, but with a great interest in Lewis and everything that goes on in this area. So that's good.
Yes.
Good.
Don't rush away from it. Let me ask you, because he did live in Lewis and he's gone to New Haven. And I've known a number of people, it's because the costs in Lewis began to rise, who went to live in New Haven, which after that ring road was put in is considered to be the pits of this area. But do you see a resurgence in New Haven? Do you think it's coming back?
Yes, I do. Absolutely. I'm no expert in this direction, but all the signs are that there is clearly potential, and no one will argue with that. And certainly the harbour area is absolutely attractive. There's a lot of industrial work in New Haven as well. But I would have said, bearing in mind the cost of housing in this area, that New Haven makes sense, as does Seaford. I've got good friends in Seaford.
Seaford, I like.
Absolutely.
It's a lovely little seaside town.
And let me tell you this, that albeit we do get a little bit of benefit financially, but the train journey to Seaford there and back is under £3 for people of our age.
Yes.
So, I mean, that's wonderful. And there's one brilliant cafe, and I've got to go now. There's a brilliant cafe there, which we've mentioned before, and I'll mention it now. It's in the main shopping drag area in Seaford, and it's called the Grumpy Chef.
Oh, lovely. Yeah, lovely.
Bacon. I'm sure they're very good here in the Black Horse Pub. But
well, there is one of those sort of fish and chip type vans in New Haven that apparently serves lobster butties.
just your thing.
Well, I think the whole idea of a lobster butty is just, where else would you find one?
Well, that's what I call leveling out. You know, let's have no more snobbery. Let's have lobster.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Caviar.
Yeah. Well, I was just about to say, please don't disturb your caviar half-boiled eggs there.
Oh dear. I like plain, honest food. That's me. Sausages. Bring back sausages. Let's make both ends meet. Sausages.
And when we bring back the good English sausage, let's make sure that it is made according to the real ingredients of the post-war sausage. Right? Yes. 2/3 sawdust, a little bit of water, a little bit of
a bit of that.
Yeah, a bit of this and a bit of that, and a tiny bit of meat in the end. Yes.
A good idea. I say my final word this morning. Next Thursday, perhaps we will be here next Thursday.
Oh, we will. Yes.
All I would say is bring back rissoles.
That's it.
Bring back rissoles.
Yes.
That would change the world, I think.
It would. I didn't know you couldn't get rissoles.
Rissoles. I'm not going to debate rissoles. I really, I have to draw a line somewhere. But I'm sure there are rissole makers everywhere in the world. And support us. Bring back rissoles.
Indeed.
Goodbye, Sakim.
Good to see you, John.
Oh, goodbye, everybody. Goodbye. Oh, what a lovely tree house.
Oh, there he is. Irrepressible. And a little bit at the top of the show, I think the sound was screwed up again, but nonetheless, there's lots there to look at when you look at it on social media. So you're looking at you're looking at the recording of it, and I hope you enjoy it because there is nothing like Henty on a Thursday morning. Nothing like it at all. It is a jewel in the crown of Lord television. God bless him. And I am looking forward on Sunday the 11th to going to the garden party. I really am. And it will be a splendid occasion, I'm sure. Absolutely splendid occasion. Okie dokie. Well, now is the time that after my rants today, now is the time I shall go and sit and I shall have a little chat to Joe, who is the host today, as well as the cleaner. And Joe is a first-class cricketer. He plays a lot of cricket. Where have you played this past week, Joe? Oh, he's disappeared. He can't hear me. But he plays for Firle normally. That travels all over the lower part of East Sussex to lovely little cricket grounds, lovely grounds in the villages. And I hope that this huge building plan mooted by the new government isn't going to go in and destroy these things. Are you there, Joe?
Yes, mate.
Yeah, I was asking who have you played cricket with this week?
This week I played in a 2020 in the rain against New Haven.
For
Firle.
Did you win?
We unfortunately didn't. We got bowled out for just over 100 in torrential conditions, and then I took a really good catch early on in our bowling innings and got the spirits going, but it was too late. We needed 20 more runs, I'd say, 30. It was a close game, though. We got 7 of them out.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
Yes.
So it was a good game.
Was that the only match you played in?
This midweek, yes. I'm playing in Westfield on Saturday, though, which is north of Hastings. We're coming off one loss this season, won every other game.
Yes, you've had a very successful record, haven't you?
Absolutely. So
yeah.
It's going really well at the moment. Yeah.
There you are, you see. This is just his secondary job. Plays cricket all the time. In fact, he's bed so he can get in several cricket matches in a day.
Very true.
Good to see you, Joe.
Nice to see you too, Keith.
That's it for today. We will now. I think anyway, if I can find the little bobble that says goodbye, we'll say toodle pip, and we look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Tomorrow is Friday, is that right? Yes. What we have is we have a jamboree starting at about 9:30. We have Harry Atherton coming in from Normandy. We have Melissa Conti coming in from New York. I'm not sure whether we've got Mark Maybe tomorrow because he's going on holiday. He said on Friday. Whether he can squeeze us in before he goes, I'm not sure. But we'll have Philip Meredith coming in from Arundel. So it's a real mixture. We talk about absolutely anything and everything. So do join us because it's the fun program of the week. Okay, until then, we will say toodle pip and join us tomorrow. Bye.
Thank you.
through it.
Brilliant.